Hello again, welcome to South Tonight from the Emmet Hotel in Clonakilty. It's a small family-run hotel in what I'm told is the only Georgian square located outside the Pale. Well, I'll be meeting the proprietor of the hotel in a little while to find out more. But first, back by popular demand, it's our finance slot just moved to its new home of Wednesday, every second Wednesday. And here's Jerry Owens from Mobile Mortgages joining us once again. Jerry, we've missed you. Welcome back.
Nice to be here again.
Good stuff. Now, let's delve straight in. Payment protection policies, fixed rates and home insurance are all topics that we've covered before when we had our Monday night sessions. But we're still getting queries on them and a need for clarification. And I suppose it's true to say that there is some conflicting information out there in regards to those topics.
There has been, and recently, some commentators have suggested that some people don't need the policies. And the big issue here is need. All right. And the first thing I'd say to somebody, if an advisor says to you, you don't need this, get it in writing. Okay. And then call back to him afterwards and say, you told me I didn't need this, and now I'm in this situation and I do need it, but you told me I didn't. And getting back to need, in terms of payment protection plans, they're exactly what they say on the tin. In the event that you're out of work and not earning an income for accident, illness or redundancy, they will pay your mortgage for a term of maybe 12 months or 24 months, okay, while you seek other employment or retrain.
So it's really silly to suggest that they're not needed at all, surely.
It is silly, and even in this climate, like up to a few months ago, before the current crisis got as bad as it did, we would have considered state employment to be guaranteed. Because of the cutbacks, there are people in state employment today who might be getting a tap on the shoulder and said, look, we're closing down this department. They would have thought they had a job for life. Now they don't. Yeah. Okay.
Are the payment policies, protection policies, rather complicated with terms and conditions and, you know, clauses and how you claim, what you can claim? Maybe you can explain a little bit more.
Yeah, they are complicated. There's no doubt about it. In the past, I have constantly said people should get professional advice to go through the bits and pieces and explain to people what's involved. In terms of the basic accident illness policy, all right, if you're in employment, you suffer an accident, you can't claim for the first 30 days. And the reason being is it's not for every small tittle-tattle accident, but one that keeps you out of work for a period of time. Okay. All right. However, for redundancy claims, the policy must be enforced for 120 days. So let's say that you've put the policy in place today, and in 2 weeks' time you have an accident. 30 days from the date of the accident, you can make a claim. And your doctor certifies you're out of work due to whatever that illness is, and you submit it to the claims people and they will honour it. If, for instance, 2 weeks' time you were told that you were going to lose your job, you've no claim because it must be in place for at least 120 days.
And the reason for that, is that so that they don't get landed with claims from people who kind of had an inkling they're going to be made redundant?
I would suspect that's the reason. You'd really have to ask the provider why they do that, but I think it is a matter of solvency. Otherwise you would have a load of people from any organisation that might get wind from their union rep, we're in trouble, we're going to be closed in 2 or 3 weeks' time or maybe 2 months' time, and there'll be a rush of people buying the policy. Now, that's not insurance because people know it's going to happen. Insurance is about protecting you against something that might happen.
Okay, now if we move on to fixed rates, some of our viewers want to know, should they buy out of the fixed rate contracts? Because the variable price has been better lately, so
yeah,
what would be the advice there?
It's very difficult, all right. The biggest reason why it's difficult is that if you break a fixed rate contract, the present provider is still stuck to having to pay the money they've agreed to pay to the person they bought the money from, okay, so they have to cover that cost, okay. That's called a breakage fee. Okay, let's say you have somebody who has a year to go on a 5.5 fixed rate and they're being offered 2.75. That looks like a saving of 2.75. But if you add the breakage fee, which might be 10 grand, then you end up paying more in that year of the next year of the mortgage. So therefore there's no financial reason to do that. You just suffer the rate you have until the fixed rate's up and then you go to whatever the variable rate is. So in terms of that, before you make the break, you need to know what the breakage fee is going to be, how much do you owe, what the replacement rate is going to be, and then get the sums done with a professional advisor so that you can sit down and say, yes, there is a financial reason to do this. Okay? And by and large, the way the breakage fees are calculated, which is cost of funds to the institution, There doesn't seem to be any reason why you'd make out of it. But do the sums. Just be careful.
Sums. You have a phrase about a carpenter.
Yes, indeed. Measure twice and cut once.
Yeah. So make sure you even maybe go over it twice, get a second opinion.
Get a second opinion. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, is it a good time to buy a fixed rate? Because I would have thought not, seeing the variable one being far more attractive lately. But then anything can happen. So what's the safe thing to do?
And again, look, yes, certainly it's better today than it was 6-7 months ago. Okay, before the ECB started dropping rates. Because remember, they increased rates in July, and people felt this is going to go on. And they had suggested until they get inflation under control, they would have to continue to increase rates. So people then rushed in and bought fixed rates for 3 and 5 years to protect themselves from further increases. Now, because rates have fallen, we're now at the trough in terms of rates. Okay, there is a floor to which they will go, and there's a suggestion from the ECB that maybe 1% is probably as low as they're prepared to go. In the US, it's down to 0. But look, let's say it's 1%. We're presently at 1.5. The money markets then react to that, and they decide what they will charge for term money, be it 1 year, 2 years, up to 5 or 10 years. And the institutions then buy that money at a margin and then sell that on to the customer. Okay, I think that we're probably closer to the bottom of the barrel now in terms of reductions in interest rates and reductions available from the money markets. So therefore, the next money market rates might be up in anticipation of a tick up in interest rates maybe in 6 or 12 months' time, even though in the immediate future we're going to see probably another reduction from the ECB. But that all depends on how the economy begins to get itself organised. Remember, there's been a huge amount of stimulus put into all of the economies, both in Europe, in China and America. Those stimulus packages will create demand, and when you have demand, you create inflation. Okay, and that's when the governments will start to maybe increase rates to dampen that inflation such that it doesn't get out of control completely.
So would you say leave it for a few months before making a decision? I
would certainly keep a very, very tight watching brief on it for the next couple of months. The ECB should meet every first Thursday in the month and decide rates. There is a possibility they may adjust rates again further in April. Maybe a quarter, maybe a half. At that point in time, the money markets will start to then analyse where they believe the next rate move is going to be. And it may be up, in which case fixed rate money could become dearer. So the next couple of weeks, next couple of months is a good time to maybe consider, particularly if you have absolute certainty in your job, you can say, I know I'm going to be here for the next number of years. I know I have the mortgage and I want to protect myself from further rate increases. So yeah, now is not a bad time.
All right. But to have a crystal ball.
To have the crystal ball, yeah.
Jerry, I know we haven't got time for the home insurance topic this time, as we thought we might, but next time we'll pursue that one perhaps.
Delighted.
So thanks very much for being with us on the show again. And any inquiries actually for Jerry can be sent by email to us, which is info@channelsouth.ie. Now we're here in the Emmet Hotel in Clonakilty, and up next we meet the proprietor of this lovely place, Robert O'Keefe. That's in part 2 of the show.